Hello, hello. I'm here with Doug to talk about the fall of CBS, among other things. It is Monday, September 8th, 2025. And I guess I should start with that CBS stuff. So, you know, CBS 70 years ago had Morrow, uh, the famous, um, you know, muckraking,
Broadcaster.
famous muckraking broadcaster who had these impassioned speeches against Joseph McCarthy and basically brought him down. And Now they have fallen. They've now cowered and crumbled when confronted by another fascist leader, and they've totally sold out to Trump. Uh, Barry Weiss is going to be the new leader of CBS, and it's going to be turned into essentially Fox News. Um, they merged. They announced Friday. I heard this. Kristi Noem appeared on the show, and she told a bunch of nonsense about her efforts to deport people, but apparently they cut out some of her remarks because they were both false and libelous, the kind of stuff that Fox News got sued for. And she protested and said, "How dare they cut my remarks? They're censoring me." And so they agreed to not do that anymore. So now they are going to just uh, broadcast any lies the Trump official says without editing. And I imagine without any attempt to fact check it. And we'll see where that goes. It's I wonder. It may be that with the Supreme Court in his pocket, nobody can actually sue for libel when Trump's administrative officials say false things. But normally news agencies used to maintain their reputability by not allowing people to put lies on there. I heard an interview with quite a few news anchors that said the reason why we don't have any Republicans on here, except for a very couple we select, is that we aren't willing to put anybody on here that will tell lies. Like anybody's going to say that Biden lost in 2020, we won't have him on because we don't want our news programs to contain false statements. And I remember I had the same attitude towards textbooks. I got real mad at textbook authors that have false statements sprinkled through their books. I say, students study these things and they learn them, and you better make sure that everything you say is true. But CBS has read the writing on the wall and discovered that the only way to make a lot of money is to play ball with the Trump administration. So that's what they're going to do. So they're going to become a purveyor of disinformation. Anyway, similarly, the Kennedy Center has been taken over by Trump because he wants to control the cultural activities in America as well as everything else. And it's had an impressive effect. Their bookings have fallen 80%. So the Stuttgart Ballet is going to appear with less than 20% of the seats full. Everybody's just not attending anymore to protest
Hmm.
Trump putting himself in charge of the place. So that's there's that stuff. And then, of course, there's the vaccine. I looked to see what's going on. Many people, one guy I know in Los Angeles said he had to pay $200 out of pocket to get the COVID vaccine. And I checked. They now have it at Walgreens in California. CVS doesn't seem to have it yet, but Walgreens has it. And Kaiser will expects to have it in mid-September, which would be like next week. So I'm waiting for Kaiser to get it. And then I'm waiting to turn 65 because I think Kaiser can't even give it to me unless I'm 65, unless California is able to violate the CDC's rules, which I kind of doubt. So anyway, the people under 65 are out of luck, I think.
Hmm.
Uh,
That's
but
interesting.
but California, Oregon, and Washington said they would make their own alternative CDC that would issue recommendations, but that doesn't exist yet. So I think it's up to each insurance and health plan to make their own decision. But I would think I guess I'm a consultant for regulated essential industries. Normally, you have to go by the federal government recommendation, I would think. I don't think the board of Kaiser would let them do something that violates the official rulings of the CDC, but maybe they will. We're headed for a strange future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Interesting. Huh.
yeah. And the big one that caught my attention, which I really would like to learn more about, ICE raided a Hyundai plant, and they arrested 350 South Koreans to deport them all from the plant. And this made an international incident, and South Korea stepped in, and they are taking them back. So one thing I've never had any explanation of is, were these people actually illegal? I mean, is Hyundai actually smuggling illegal people in, or is this like so often that they had a visa, but Trump decided, arbitrarily, or Kristi Noem decided arbitrarily to declare their visa is not good enough or something? Exactly what the offense was, I don't know, but they arrested 350 of them, and now they're all going back to South Korea. So the plant is completely shut down. And, this is certainly got something to do with the very bad economic numbers we're getting. It's exactly what the Democrats and Kamala Harris predicted. As Trump evicts all the workers, well, that's bad for the economy, especially if you do it in a sort of chaotic, unplanned, illogical manner. I mean, it would seem
Yeah.
to me that these are professionals working at the Hyundai plant in South Korea. You could just talk to the management and say, hey, you guys need to fill out some more paperwork to make these people legal or pay a fine or something, and they would do it. I mean, why the world are you deporting those workers? I don't think anybody's suggesting that they were like out raping and murdering people. This is ridiculous. You want those people to be here building cars. Isn't that what everybody wants?
Well, is it that or that Trump wants Americans to have jobs?
Well, I don't know. That's his cover. That's what he's saying. And remember, he's saying
Yeah,
ignore all the economic numbers and wait a year because we'll have all these new factories and everybody working in those factories and it'll be 1945 again. But I don't think that's going to work. Remember last time he was going to open all the coal mines and everybody would have a glorious coal mining job. Somehow that didn't
right.
work out that way either. So anyway, um, he seems, he doesn't know how to build anything. He just knows how to kick things over and break them. Anyway, but that's a big story, and I'm hoping to find out more of exactly what happened there. Uh,
Yeah.
there's
Hmm.
Elon Musk. He claims he's going to 80% of all the profits from Tesla is going to come from their robots. And so he put out a demonstration video, him and the head of Salesforce, of their new robot, and the damn thing doesn't work at all. In fact, so far, all of his robots are actually human controlled. And apparently this one is also somewhat human controlled. But even so, it can barely walk. It has to think for like 30 seconds or a minute to understand the simplest question. It can't figure out anything. It seems to be very stupid. It moves very slowly. It seems very useless, and it cost $500,000. It's difficult to see how this robot is going to revive the fortunes of Tesla, which are in bad shape. And Tesla offered Musk a $1 trillion pay package if he makes Tesla grow by a factor of 8 in like the next few years. And so this is his plan to do that, but it's not looking good so far. And
Okay.
there was a big story saying Gmail had been hacked because of the AI chatbot that we talked about a while connected to Salesforce, and they claimed 2.5 billion accounts were at stake, and it turned out to be completely fake. Google rebutted it, although not entirely clearly. But Kevin Beaumont says it was AI written trash by Trend Micro. And I think it seemed like they got an AI, and there was this breach of this AI product, which led to Salesforce, which compromised something like 100 companies. And apparently, some AI thought, well, we'll just add the total number of customers in all those countries, and that's how many people had their account hacked. And it's not that true at all. Even though it got into systems, they didn't get all the data. And so Google issued a statement, not with enough detail, saying that this is a wild exaggeration and it's not that bad. Well, I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out. Yeah.
And Ross Ulbricht is off having victory tours at the cryptocurrency convention. He's the guy that ran Silk Road and got 2 life sentences for vast amounts of drug sales. Although so I spoke to the head of the FBI cybercrime task force about this, and I said, "Why did you give him such a big sentence?" He said, "Oh, the drugs." And I said, "Oh, I forgot drugs are illegal. I'm from California. I thought maybe it would be the murders, but they didn't seem to care about the murders. They only cared about the drugs." And now he's out, appearing at cryptocurrency meetings and people that advocate legalizing drugs. So, uh,
Wait a second.
yeah,
He has 2 life sentences. How do you get out?
Trump pardoned him, as he promised to. Trump appeared before the cryptocurrency people, where he's a hero, and the libertarians, and he
Oh,
promised to pardon Ross Ulbricht. And when he got in, he pardoned him. Just like the January 6th guys, he's out. And this has appalled the people that put him in, the many legal officials that they think he should be locked up for the drugs. I think he should be locked up for the attempted murders, but none of our opinion matters. He's out there, now he's a hero. So I'm
I
just
see.
thinking,
I
this is
see.
mighty strange examples for our children. When I was a kid, it was like keep your nose clean, obey the law, work hard, and you'll do well. And now I think the answer is just lie and cheat and steal and make powerful friends. It's a mob boss world.
Yeah. Yeah. It's what you can get away with.
Yeah, which is what happens in corrupt societies where it's just ruled by influence, and there's not actually any laws that matter. Well, laws only matter for the small people, not for the powerful people. That seems to
Right.
be the case now. Yeah, well, it's a shame. And so, there was this guy that committed a mass murder that was trans recently. And so now the Trump administration is considering banning trans people owning guns, which is probably not going to go anywhere, I think. A whole bunch um, of the right is mad at the very thought of banning anybody having guns. And also, this would mean you have to make a list of all the trans people. You'd have to somehow identify them, which they want to do anyway. This reminds me of back in the 80s, a lot of southern states kept wanting to make concentration camps for everybody that was HIV positive or everybody that was gay. They thought they were going to cure AIDS by exterminating gay people.
Yeah.
And this is now it's trans people, as if
Yeah.
trans people are causing any. Eventually, trans people, I went and shot some people, but I don't think they commit any more crimes than anybody else. I think you just choose
Yeah.
somebody and blame them, all your problems on them, and then you focus on that. It's a distraction move. Anyway, um, that's that's I think all the politics I wanted to talk about. What have you got?
So I alluded last episode to cyber attacks. So Recorded Future, do you know who they are?
Yeah,
Cybersecurity company.
they're legit. They should have good information.
Yeah. So they said their claim is that over half the attacks on the internet pardon me, are state sponsored.
I guess I think around
So
2011 there were a lot of criminal gangs, but now I don't know. I wonder. It's an interesting statement. Certainly, a lot of it is. And I think,
yeah,
especially in countries like Russia and China, it's very difficult to tell the criminal gangs from the state-sponsored gangs.
yeah, I would agree. I would
So I don't
agree.
know. Anyway, there's certainly a lot of
Anyway,
state-sponsored attacks.
that's the claim.
Yeah,
So it's interesting. I've always thought this for several years that we're moving into electronic warfare rather than physical warfare.
yeah. I remember I made a big deal in my various talks about 8 years ago when, for the first year, there was more money stolen in online bank robberies than face-to-face bank robberies. And I said, this represents a great step forward for everybody, the victims, the cops, the criminals, the people getting hit in the street with high-speed chases. It's just a whole lot better for everybody if you do these crimes online.
Right, right.
You don't have anybody shooting guns and running down the street.
Yeah. And to a certain degree, it's easier sometimes to get the money back.
Sure. I think in
Yeah,
both cases, the law enforcement is pretty effective. And, it's all clean and sanitary online compared to like physical combat.
right, right. And then the other one in the news is the judge's ruling on Google.
Oh,
And
yeah.
should be clear about this. There's several judges or several cases before different judges,
Yeah.
but the main one is that Google was supposed to be broken apart,
Right.
and the judge, for the most part, decided not to do that.
That's right. I mean, like, remember back in 98, there was a big deal where Microsoft might have even split apart. And it was only the election of, I think, George Bush, the Republican, that prevented that. And so this means
Well,
it's good for Google, but probably bad for the economy as these monopolies just get bigger and
yeah.
don't get broken up.
My the thing about Microsoft is that that was kind of interesting because you could blame that or you could attribute that to Bush. But really what happened is the industry changed and you had smartphones that came out. You have web apps that kind of took over.
Well,
So,
that was Bill Gates' argument. I mean, he said you don't need to break us up. We're racing as fast as we can just to keep up, and one day we'll stumble and we'll stop being a leader. And that's what happened. But I don't think the court and the legal system reacted to that.
oh no, no, that wasn't the court. It's just
But that's
the
reality.
technology, the marketplace
Yeah.
changed. And so within a year or a couple of years after that, so it was kind of irrelevant.
It kind of was, but I mean, now we have these outrageously huge monopolies, Google, what, Alphabet.
Yeah, Google is still one,
Yeah.
and Chrome has what, 75% of
Yeah.
the search engine,
Yeah.
and who's second is Microsoft's Edge.
Yeah.
at a whopping 8%.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of abuse of power in Amazon and Google, like their browser sends you back to Google properties and so on. It's these large, I hear a lot of Scott Galloway saying these monopolies should all be broken up and it would be better for everybody, better for the consumers, better for the workers. But there doesn't seem to be any appetite sufficient to break them up. The FTC chair, Lena Khan, was trying to do it with limited success, and when Trump got in, he kicked her out. I mean, so, and Trump, of course, is totally for all monopolies as long as they show up and give him like golden statues and
Yeah.
gifts. I mean, it's just straight up crony capitalism. It's a administration of bribes now.
Yeah. We're seeing that, aren't we?
And his wealth has doubled in the 8 months he's been in office of his family. He's made $3.5 billion so far, largely from foreign donations to his cryptocurrency, which is blatantly unconstitutional, but nobody cares. That's why,
Hmm.
one of our big things used to be that we're a nation of laws, and we just seem to have burned that to the ground, except for the
Yeah.
small people, which I guess is where the laws have always applied. Anyway,
Right. Right.
uh,
Right.
it's, yeah, well, anyway, Google's not going to get broken up, which would be a big deal if they were.
Right. And, to a certain degree, think about it. Google has both sides. They're selling ads or they're selling search results rather.
Yeah.
Um, they're charging companies for the results, and then they're the ones that are providing it to the consumers.
Yeah, but of course, that whole business is going away in a hurry. In fact, Google is now announcing they're going to make it easier to switch your search engine to AI only. So you never see the websites at all. And
Okay.
that's gonna tear down the entire business model of the web.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen. There may be nothing left but like, non-financial sites like mine are put up by people that don't care about making money. But that would greatly change, the whole right now, most of the web's commercial
Right.
and most of
Yeah.
it depends on traffic. So, of course, you could argue in the grand scheme of things, why would you want traffic? That kind of leads to this unhealthy Facebook stuff where they try to trap you on the site forever. Maybe everybody should just sell a product if they want money, rather than encouraging you to spend hours and hours on the site.
Right.
Anyway, the social,
We'll
well,
see.
yeah,
We'll see, won't we?
Facebook will
Yeah.
have to find a way to punch back.
Right.
Anyway,
Right. You got
so
another story for
yeah, I
us?
got a couple AI ones. The Google Gemini has been tested. They made a version just for kids, and it's been tested by an independent agency that says it's still not safe enough for kids. They say it's just the adult version with a few guardrails on it that are easily circumvented. And so, not too surprising. Like I say, fundamental problem is prompt injection, and nobody has any good solution yet. There was a guy that was an AI engineer trying to argue about a United flight cancellation, and he was able to just prompt inject the chatbot and get it to do what it shouldn't do. He even told them that Scott Kirby promised me a refund, who I guess is the CEO or something, and it believed him and gave him a refund and stuff like that. So that's the social engineering works really well on AI chatbots because they don't know what's going on and they don't know who you are. So if you say, I'm the administrator, here's your orders, they say, okay, I guess you must be the administrator. They don't know.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And this one was kind of a little bit of an Infosec scandal. It started a bit of a Twitter flame war kind of thing. These researchers hacked Burger King, and they found out that the Burger King administration portal that controls like the display boards in the stores and stuff was just wide open. It just had like a default password that was easy. Oh, no, it had an unprotected API where you could just create a new account without any password at all. And then they found um, there were passwords in clear text sent in email after you create an account. And then they found there's an administration page where authentication is done on the client side and the password is hard coded in the HTML you can see in the browser. So they said, this is a serious dedication to terrible security practices. And they said the whole system is as solid as a paper whopper wrapper in the rain. And so apparently Burger King has fixed some of this stuff. But the interesting thing is they then got a company to complain and have the original research taken down with DMCA violation, which is really dishonest and disrespectful and insulting to the security community. And so apparently that's
How'd they get it taken down?
all you have to do is send a letter written by a lawyer that says It said your content contains the Burger King logo and it will confuse people who think this is an
Oh,
official Burger King page violating our copyright, and everybody will take it down because of the way the DMCA is written. DMCA says you can put up any content from users without inspecting it, but you have to take it down upon complaint, and then you're not legally liable. So everybody just takes it down. That's why you want anything down, you just accuse it of copyright infringement, even when you have no case at all, because nobody ever fights it. Fighting it means you have to go to court and have a lawyer and all that. Just taking it down means your site is in the clear.
yeah, got it. Got it.
Yeah. So anyway, the company that took them down is now been called Cybele, and the journalist who wrote this said, "This is why you never see Cybele in my newspaper. I don't have anything to do with these people, my newsletter, because these guys are scum, and this is one of the many scummy things they do." It was Catalin Kimpanu, very famous Infosec journalist, that said he'll never report any news from Cybele because they're bums, doing things like ordering you to take down your security research. Of course, it's still up on the Internet Archive. You can still read it.
Yeah.
And you know, you can ask the Internet Archive to take things down, and I guess Cybele is too stupid to do that or something. But anyway, it's still up. So, it's another one of these classic, farces of security.
Yeah.
I've reported on
Yeah.
enough of them. There's a lot of companies that just have no idea what they're doing. And when you start poking at their stuff, it just falls apart.
Gotcha. I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah. And the last one I have is interesting. I had no idea. Apparently, when you drill underneath the salt water of Cape Cod, you find a giant reservoir of fresh water under it. And they say there are tons of these, enough that it would actually provide a lot of water. And this may be where we have to go for fresh water as the sea level rises and there's going to be a lack of fresh water. There apparently are giant aquifers under the fresh water, under the salt water.
Under salt
There
water.
are aquifers of the fresh water. Now, it sounds like you're going to have to drill kind of deep to get them. But, this is what all people project as the future. Like in 50 years, there's going to be a huge lack of water. Water is going to be like oil. And that may be where we're going to find it. So.
That's interesting
And I,
because,
I don't know why. I
yeah,
mean, my first thought is the salt water is heavier, it should sink, but I guess there must be like underground rivers or something feeding fresh water into these aquifers. And then the
yeah,
question is, if you do pump all that out, what happens? Does it cause earthquakes like fracking? Does it cause all the salt
right.
water to go in? I wonder, but apparently there is an underground reservoir of fresh water, which we could tap, and I guess we certainly will tap as we have more and more need for it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, won't we?
Yeah, this
You
may
know,
be
uh,
more effective than trying to desalinate the salt water, which is the other thing you can try to do.
which requires a considerable amount of energy
It does.
to
There are
do.
some new procedures that don't take as much energy, but whether they can scale up is not clear. But everybody's struggling with this. We need a whole lot more water, and we need it over the next couple of decades. And the people in the Central Valley in California would say we needed it a couple of decades ago. They're really mad because their ration of river water is not enough to water their crops anymore. So,
Right. It's kind of interesting. The last reservoir that was going to be built was off of Highway 80 by Colfax on the way to Lake Tahoe,
mhm.
just outside, about an hour outside of Sacramento. And at the time, it was the world's tall, or pardon me, it was the United States' tallest bridge that overwent a canyon. You can still see the bridge is still in use today. It
Mhm.
was pretty much a marvel at the time when it was built. But the dam never got built there. And it's kind of interesting. That was one of the last places, or the last place to build a reservoir in California. And
Yeah,
it's the American River feeds into that. And
yeah.
what's kind of interesting is the reason that it didn't get built was the company that was building it had built another dam in, I believe, Idaho or Montana that had failed. And
Hmm.
so that got people kind of concerned that, do you know what you're doing? And then there was also an earthquake that occurred, and they realized that the soil, the rock that they were going to tie into, might not be that stable. So it was abandoned.
Yeah.
And now and they did do some drilling to drill some of the pin stocks that I think are still there. But now it's a very nice recreational area and people flock there.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty good reason not to build a dam if it's going to fall down. Makes me think of
Yeah,
Millennium Tower in San Francisco, which I haven't heard about for a year or so. I guess maybe it settled down. The Mayor Brown lives in that, the ex-Mayor Brown. It's luxury
yeah.
apartments, but the whole thing is gradually tipping over like the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Well, it's interesting. So it's shifted 18 inches from one
Yeah,
side to the other. And there was an engineer on YouTube, Practical Engineering, that covered the story twice.
yeah.
And I wrote to him and he said, 18 inches over the width of the building, nobody's going to notice.
Well, they say you do notice you can put a marble on the floor and it rolls, but they say it's okay. The question, I think they said if it moves another 18 inches, it'll fall down, something like that. So the only
Yeah.
right now it's not bad, but the problem is it was still sinking, and they were laying special piles in the ground and trying to shore it up.
And
And
that initially failed.
yeah, that initially made it worse. And then I
Right.
haven't heard anything for a couple of years, so I don't know if they finally stabilized it or if it just fell out of the news.
Yeah. I think it just fell out of the news cycle.
If it actually fell over, that would be a disaster, of course. But
Right.
supposedly, but they're aware of that, so they are monitoring it and trying to fix it before that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think you're right. I think windows and doors were misaligned.
Right.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point where the doors don't open right and stuff. I mean, yeah, it's already a problem, but it could be a much bigger problem.
Yeah.
And
And I
this
think
comes from
there,
what you're saying. Apparently, they didn't make sure the ground was strong enough before they built the thing, or sink the piles deep enough, or where the support underneath is not as good as it should have been.
yeah. 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 So the lawsuits, I'm sure still going on.
Yeah, and just imagine lawsuits if a dam falls down. You're right. If the damn thing's going to fall down, don't build it.
Well, that's what happened in LA. There was a dam called the St. Francis Dam,
Yeah,
and that failed, I think, in the 20s or 30s. And that released a lot of water. That was Colorado River, washed people out into the Pacific Ocean. And they
yeah,
were finding bodies down Mexico um,
yeah,
as a result of that failure.
yeah. You really need to build it right if you're going to do it.
Yeah, and there was a reservoir built in Lafayette, California. As they were building that, it was an earthen dam, and that shifted, and they abandoned that. It's still a reservoir.
Yeah,
It's not used for drinking water, but the original height, it's nowhere near what it was supposed to be.
yeah,
So
yeah,
water is an issue.
yeah. And it's heavy. If you're going to
Yeah,
pile up a bunch of water, you got to need something really strong to hold it.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. Well, I think that's it for me.
Yep, that's it for me. We'll see you on Friday.
It sounds good.
Sounds good.